Venga, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Rogers, Game Director on Path of Exile, and
Ahí están
welcome to
saliendo
GGG Live.
la
We have
traducción,
massive
¿vale? Aquí
changes
lo
to show you
tenéis.
today with Path of Exile, Curse of the Allflame, which is coming out next week on July 25th. Twitch drops are enabled on today's live
Twitch
stream,
drops han
so you'll be
empezado.
able to claim your Abyssal Soul Shatter Rare Finisher effect by following
45
the instructions
minutos
below.
para los drops, gente,
Let's
ya han
not keep you waiting
empezado.
though. Roll the trailer for Path of Exile, Curse of the Allflame.
The Allflame calls us to the sea. To a lost wreck
¿Es
that
una
still
secuela de Metamor?
draws ghostly breath.
¿Será una
A
mezcla?
curse down below. With my lanterns, we can explore the sea floor.
Sulfur de los...
We
Dead
must
Man.
find the source of the Allflame
Exploramos el
before
fondo marino.
brine rot.
Encontrar el
Somewhere
origen.
in the blackest depths,
En algún lugar de la
bounty
oscuridad.
and death await.
Recompensa y muerte te esperan. Preparamos las áreas. Crafteo, ¿queréis crafteo, gente? Pues ahí hay crafteo. Nuevos modificadores. Rebora Abyss, aparte. Genial. Nuevo bot de Abyss. Legión mejorado. Vuelven los mercenarios. Los mercenarios de vuelta. Nuevos hechizos. Atlas Anomalies. Nuevos únicos. Una nueva ascendencia. ¿Para quién? ¿Para quién la nueva ascendencia esa? Ah, de voz, claro.
In the
La de
depths
Endgame.
of the sea.
Bueno, el high ya está ahí. ¿Veis? Os lo dije, en cuanto viera el
In
anuncio, el
today's
high
stream, we'll
subía.
be walking you through all the details of Path of Exile, Curse of the Allflame, where you'll comb the ocean floor discovering sunken artifacts of forgotten
Bueno,
origins.
veremos a ver la relación
Fight the horrors of the
que
deep
tiene.
and do your best to keep from being crushed by the waters above you. We're revisiting some familiar
Oye, tenemos
mechanics
varios
to bring new life
cambios.
to systems that
Vuelven
have
los
begun perhaps
mercenarios,
to show their
reworkean
age.
Abyss, mejoran
Abyss and Legion will
Legión,
both be receiving
mete más
significant
cosas en el
upgrades,
Atlas.
including a new pinnacle boss for Abyss
Se ve
and a
interesante.
new chase crafting
Socket
system for
color
unique items in Legion.
reworkeados. Los
In
colores.
addition to
Los
revamps
colores
of
de
the
los
existing leagues,
sockets.
though, we're
Lo
also
harán
bringing
más
back some
fácil.
old friends. The mercenaries of Trathus are making their way back to Rayclast.
Y la mecánica de liga
Then we'll
por ahora
explain
no
our
la han
new endgame
relacionado
system.
con nada.
We will join
No está ni
Kirak in
relacionada a
investigating
Abyss, ni
anomalies
está
appearing on the
relacionada
Atlas.
directamente
After
a
that,
Fargrave,
we'll discuss the character
ni
and
está
skill balance
relacionada a
coming in
Torment
Curse of the
Spirit. A
Allflame.
lo que más parece es que
Finally,
se
we'll cover our new
es que
set of
está
supporter
relacionada a
packs,
Fargraves.
after which we'll
Yo
have a
espero
live
que esté
Q&A session
relacionada a
where
Fargraves.
Ziggy D will interview Path of Exile's game director Mark, as well as
Vale,
game
que
designers
nos pasa con
Octavian
Mark
and
para que
Andrew,
nos cuente más
answering
cosas.
your questions from Twitch chat. After the live stream, we'll drop the full patch
Sí,
notes
Diego, me
at
perdí
11 a.m.
mucho.
NZT. So let's get
Nos ha enseñado el
started.
tráiler.
I'll hand things over to Mark to introduce the new league.
Hola, Visa,
Hi,
muy buenas.
I'm Mark Roberts, Game Director on Path of Exile. In Path of Exile, Curse of the Allflame, a long-forgotten mystery has begun to stir beneath Rayclast seas. Hidden in the icy depths lie strange and immensely powerful treasures, waiting for those bold enough to claim them. Meet Valerie,
Bueno,
a
tiene
dangerous
las
corsair
profundidades.
captain
Ay,
who
una
needs
nutria.
boots on the ground and on the sea floor to help her retrieve these
Valerie,
treasures
capitana
and unlock
corsaria.
their potential. This is where you come in, to help her find the charts scattered across Rayclast. Then, use those
Ah,
to
tiene
guide
que
her ship
buscar
to the patch
mapas
of
por
brine
Rayclast.
that holds loot for the taking. In
Luego
return,
usarlo para
you'll get
guiar
a
el
cut of the
barco.
profits.
Así
These
es el
lost
botín
charts
que
are
estamos
guarded by the
buscando.
undead,
Vamos a
rival
elegir un poco el
corsairs,
camino.
or horrible creatures of the deep.
Recibirás recompensa.
Each
Los
of these
mapas están
monster
custodiados
encounters
por
will also
corsarios
have a custom
rivales.
bonus for defeating the enemies.
Criaturas de las profundidades.
For example,
También habrá por
successfully
ahí.
defeating the accursed undead that guard this
Bonificación
treasure chest
personalizada por
will
derrotar
cause the
enemigos.
grateful trapped soul inside to grant you its power, possessing you and granting you ghastly power for the rest of the area. Once a
Vale.
chart is in hand, you'll board the good ship, the Sovereign, Valerie, or Val's reappropriated Oriathan naval vessel. Here, Val introduces you to the heart and soul of her ship,
Es un buque naval de
literally.
Oriat.
Vesper, another Pondium
Va a ser
native
una
like
descendiente
Val,
de
is
Fargraves,
bound
¿eh?
to this ship. His soul burns with the Allflame's curse, and were his comatose body to be removed from the ship,
Está
he
ligada
would
al
surely
barco.
die. The silvery apparatus that lines the bows and eaves of the vessel allow him to steer the Sovereign anywhere in Rayclast's waters. Using the chart you've brought, Vesper can navigate to a location so you can scout it for Val, and while doing so,
Ah, no me da tiempo
claim
a verlo,
whatever
no me
treasures
veo
there
los
might be.
textos ahí. Solo que nos dan...
How, though, will you avoid a watery grave
Información.
once sunk below? Vesper controls a spark of the Allflame, a powerful and mysterious magic, which has been imbued into a number of devices aboard the ship. Chief among them, the bathysphere.
Bueno, que hay varios
This
dispositivos en
entirely
el
safe and
barco que te van a
well-tested contraption of
permitir
rivets,
bajar a las
bolts, and
profundidades.
metal will be your ticket beneath the waves to explore and plunder. While scouting the depths, in order to not need an ample supply of air, we're instead going to place Allflame lanterns. These are conduits of the power that keeps Vesper
Vamos a
alive
ir colocando
and bound to the
linternas de
ship,
llama, que
and
son
give you
conductos
the
del
temporary
poder que
safety you
mantienen
need to do that
al personaje con
exploring.
vida, básicamente.
Without them, you will drown.
Donde
The
vayamos
first of
poniendo
these
las
is
llamas,
strapped to the
podemos
bathysphere and
seguir
activates on
avanzando.
landing, rushing the water away to reveal horrifying monstrosities, lost treasures, and a strange luminous coral growing from the corrupted dead in the oceans of Rayclast. These strange growths are the real reason Val has asked you to
Vale,
plumb
podemos
these waters,
colocar una cantidad
as
de
the
llamas.
coral
Aquí,
can
por
be
ejemplo,
broken
pone
down
6.
into dead man sulfur, the
Vale,
fuel
nos
that
podremos
keeps
alejar
Vesper's light
pues,
burning.
una cierta cantidad en base a donde coloquemos las
As you
llamas.
get to the perimeter of the safety provided by an Allflame lantern, Val will drop more down at your request. There's also an option available to have new lanterns
Podemos
fired
habilitar
automatically
linternas
for you as
automáticas,
soon as
que
you
si
need them.
caminamos para un lado
If
se
you
ponga la
prefer
llama
speed
sola.
over fine
Me gusta
control,
más, personalmente.
explore and claim
Yo
what you
camino
can
y ya se pondrá
while
la
you
llama
can.
donde toca y ya está,
Lost
¿no?
fortunes of gold, chests of valuables, and lurking threats all lie in
No
wait
quiero
for you beneath the
esteroides a Liga
waves.
Metamorfo.
You might even find the odd lost missive, waylaid on its travel to its intended recipient. But
Reflecting
hey,
Mist, te puede salir ahí
finders
abajo.
keepers, right?
Ya nos está enseñando
Beware
drops caros
though,
que nos pueden
as
salir ahí,
Vesper
¿eh?
can only power so many lanterns at once, and that power is finite. On placing the last of your lanterns, they will begin one by
Bueno,
one
está
to
diciendo que
flicker
tenemos
and
una
fade,
cantidad limitada
and
de
the
luces
creatures
que
of the
podemos
deep will
colocar,
rush in as they sense the
que
vanishing of the
empezarán cuando las
light.
pones todas,
You'll
empiezan
have
a
to rush
parpadear
back to the
y tienes
safety
que
of the
volver atrás
bathysphere, escaping the cold clutches
Tendrás
of
que volver
creatures that
corriendo
despise the light you bring.
para que no te mueras, básicamente.
You'll
Porque
want to place
esas
every
llamas te están
lantern
protegiendo
though, as exploring
de...
to collect
te están
enough dead
haciendo
man sulfur is
respirar
the
bajo el
only
agua.
way to successfully chart the area for the next step, planning a voyage.
Como veis, hay un
Val
montón de
will keep a
ítems
record
con
of the areas
modificadores
you've
especiales de la
charted,
mecánica.
storing details in her journals. Once you've charted enough areas, just
¿Vale?
talk to
Son
Val,
parte de mapa
place your charts on
con
Val's board,
dibujos
connect them
y se
together,
planea tu
and create
viaje.
one giant seafloor excursion.
¿Vale? Creamos zonas.
Each
Y cada
area
zona
you
tiene una
chart
serie de
will reveal a
modificadores.
special modifier that applies
¿Vale?
when
Y
it
esto
is
creo
used
que
as
lo
part of
podremos
a
vender.
voyage.
Avisa al
Apply
plane.
to either the charts adjacent to it
Seafloor Reach.
or the whole voyage. Here are a few examples.
Coral Reef Chart.
This modifier causes all equipment dropped by monsters in adjacent charts to be converted to gold.
Deadman Sulfur.
This modifier will spawn friendly jellyfish alongside every pack of monsters in your voyage, which you will promptly slaughter for extra loot and experience, we're sure. This
Medusas
modifier
amigables.
causes all monsters in adjacent
Podría ser
charts to be
potenciado por
empowered by
fuegos
wildwood
fatuos.
wisps. With 9
monstruos
positions on your board for
roban carga,
charts when
van
constructing a
normal,
voyage,
obtienes speed.
these can stack up fast. There are also charts which can take you to specially rewarding areas of the ocean floor. Fields of anchors
Vale, y
strewn
algunos
with treasure
mapas que te
chests
pueden
full of
llevar a
loot,
zonas
Calgar and
concretas.
shipments lost at sea, and sunken abyssal
Con
pits
tesoro, y
teeming
supongo
with
alguno de esos se
monsters,
llevará un boss.
to name just a few. There are even some ancient artifacts you might find and resurface.
Hostia, ¿verdad? Podré sacar el set
Additionally,
otra vez de...
the edges of the voyage
del cangrejo.
board track the currents of
Taladro.
corruption flowing through the waters of Rayclast, with randomized effects being rolled with each new voyage to affect the charts placed adjacent to them.
Vale,
These
tiene
add even
modificadores
further rewards
también
to your voyages,
por el borde.
and can shake up the way you
Más
choose to place your charts.
escarabajo.
Stack all of that together, and a well-planned voyage, with a bit of luck,
No,
can be
quería
a
colocar
very
las cartas
profitable
náuticas
endeavor.
básicamente en las
But
zonas del
with
mapa
so
de una
much loot to
manera
claim,
estratégica
how are you going to
en
get
base
it
a
all to
los
the
bugs
surface?
que hay alrededor también.
Val has a solution for just that problem. In each of the charts that
Cápsula
comprise
de
your voyage,
Allflame.
there will be a capsule waiting for you,
Enviar a
sent down
superficie.
by Val, which can store about an inventory worth of loot.
Vale, es como Haze que hasta
Stuff
que
these
no
full,
subes, no lo
send
tienes
Val a
asegurado el
signal,
drop.
and she will
Pero
pull
lo
it back
metes
up to the
aquí,
surface,
le dices que se
safe
envíe a
and
la
sound.
superficie y entonces ese drop ya no lo pierdes. Vale, aunque
Since
te mueras
voyages are
abajo y
built of
eso no lo
9
pierdes.
charts, that's a lot of opportunities to send back plenty of valuables. Once you're satisfied with the plunder from your well-planned voyage, find
Paran el
any
agua
of
las
these capsule
antorchas,
locations
entiendo.
and call the
Entiendo que la
bathysphere
aleja,
to
sí.
it as your ticket out. Val will send it down to your rescue as
Aunque
fast
él
as
ha
she
dicho
can.
algo de respirar bajo el agua.
just need to
que no
survive
tengo tan
until it
claro
gets
cómo
there.
lo hace, pero sí,
Good
para mí
luck.
aleja el agua.
Once you do, don't forget to empty all those capsules full of loot.
Vale, una vez llegues, pues te recoges
Now,
todo el loot que has
back to
subido.
all that dead
Vale,
man sulfur that you've been hard at work gathering. Is that just
vale
to keep
tiene
the
su
sovereign
propio
afloat and
inventario
Vesper
para
alight?
guardar todos estos
No,
planos
it's
y toda
not.
esta currency especial
Once
de
you've
la
got a bunch of it,
mecánica.
head below decks, and you'll find the heart
Mucha
of the
info, mi
ship
cerebro
at work.
explota, no pasa nada. Los próximos días
Whilst
lo iremos
Vesper's
explicando
body
poco a
remains
poco.
above deck, burning
Corazón
away in a
del
contraption
barco.
of tarnished pipes and
Hay
corpse
una
stained
señora
glass,
en
resides
la llama.
Vesper's soul. And you'll find him to be a pretty crafty fellow,
Es lo que
if a
vimos
bit
con
melancholy.
Fargrace. La llama se alimenta
That's
de
where this
gente.
league's
Cuando le
item crafting
entregamos la
system
llama a
comes into
Fargrace,
play.
nos dice que nos tiene que
Give
matar
Vesper
para
an item
alimentar la llama y
alongside
hacerla-
a currency that you
y
could
él conseguir
normally
el
use
poder
on
que
that item,
necesita.
and an ample supply of dead man sulfur.
¿Veis? El poder de los hombres
That
muertos
item
es
is
lo
then
que
split
nos
into a
permite
multitude of
craftear
ghostly
cosas.
forms,
Vamos a usar el
each
poder
of
de
which
la
will be the
llama.
result of having applied that currency to the original item. You can then pick which of the ghostly outcomes you like best to keep for yourself. The others will go up in smoke, as Vesper can only reify a single outcome.
Ahora genera una serie de
This
modificadores
can
y
be
te quedas
done
con el
with
que más te
almost
gusta.
any crafting step you'd like. Want to see a few outcomes for that
Interesantes.
influenced exalted orb?
Le das a craftear. ¿Y qué quieres? ¡Oh, qué guapo! O sea, ahí estoy procesándolo ahora.
Perhaps you've got a particularly expensive fossil combination you want to get maximum value out of.
Primero lo explico y luego digo, hostia, ¿qué es esto? Podemos
Do be
elegir el
wary
destino
though,
de
as
nuestro
the more
crafting.
potent the craft,
Un
the more
crafting más
sulfur Vesper will
determinista.
require
Mirad
to see
ahora.
it done.
¿Qué queremos fracturar? Lo elegimos.
That's not all, however,
Te da varias
as the
opciones.
seafloor
Puede
hides
ser
some
que entre
yet
esas opciones no
undiscovered
esté la
potential
buena,
in the form
pero en
of rare and
general,
valuable ducats.
¡wow! Nos
These
va a
can
ayudar
be
muchísimo
consumed
a
by
craftear nuestros
Vesper to
ítems, ¿eh?
warp and twist items in ways not seen in
Maravilloso.
centuries,
Me encanta.
such as Kishara's Ducat,
Vale, currency
which
especial
creates 4 ghostly copies of an item,
que genera
each of
copias
which
del
will keep
ítem.
one mod from the original, perfect
Vale.
for creating powerful crafting bases.
Para crear bases de crafting, básicamente, sí.
The Gentile's
Cambia
Ducat,
un modificador
which can
que
solve
otorga un
item or
atributo
gem requirement
para darte un
problems by
atributo
changing one
diferente.
attribute to another,
Podemos cambiar atributos por fin, que siempre lo que nos
Brian Hook's
cogía en
Ducat,
los
with which you can
crafteos.
become an emissary of the gods of
Me encanta.
Rayclast. Who knows what these aspects might do?
Crafteo.
These Ducats come from
Vale,
special
eso,
types
un
of
book de
charts,
Panteón.
so keep an eye out for them on your travels throughout Rayclast.
Por ahora
You
la
may
parte
even
de
find some
crafting
that
me ha
lead you to
encantado, ¿eh?
notably unwelcoming waters.
La mecánica
So
como
that
tal
covers the new
me
league,
parece un poco
and
sosa,
for the
bajar y
first
matar,
time in Path of Exile,
Pero
we're
bueno, habrá que
finally
ver
going
eso.
under the sea.
que
Some
los
might even
bosses
say
y
this
cositas
is the
interesantes
first
que nos pueda
real
dar de
boat
drop.
league. But that's not all. Not even close. Next up, we've got an old favourite making a return. The mercenaries of Trathus are once again roaming
Vale,
Rayclast,
está diciendo que
looking
los
for
mercenarios
hapless
de
fools to
Tartus
duel.
vuelven.
Mercenaries will start appearing from Act 3 in San. Before beginning a duel, you'll be
Empezarán a
offered an
salir a
overview
partir
of
de
the
acto
mercenary
3.
you've encountered. Here, you can see the gear they
Será
have
la
equipped
información del
and the skills
mercenario.
they employ.
Podrás ver el equipo,
As per
exactamente
the
igual que en su
Trathan
liga.
code, you have the right to wager for an item the mercenary is carrying.
Vale,
You'll stake some of your gold, and the duel commences.
tienes derecho a apostar por un objeto que lleve y te enfrentas a él. Estos son duelos, básicamente, ¿vale? Para que no lo
If
sepa,
you
fue una
lose,
mecánica de
you
duelo que se
forfeit the
metió hace un
levied gold,
tiempo
and the
y que no entró
mercenary
al
will
core y
teleport
que ahora
out,
vuelve.
repulsed at such a poor
Si
display.
pierdes, pierdes el oro que habías
Win,
apostado
however, and to the victor will go the spoils.
y el mercenario se va.
In
Si
addition,
ganas, pues te llevas
if you
el
win the
ítem.
duel, the mercenary will aid you as an ally for a number of areas. Trathan
Si ganas el
mercenaries
duelo,
are
el
powerful
mercenario te
allies to
ayudará
have in
como aliado en varias
Rayclast,
áreas.
assisting in a number of ways.
Pero para siempre
Some
son unas
mercenaries can
pocas.
provide you with powerful auras and
Que no sé
buffs,
cómo lo han
while
reworkeado.
other mercenaries can do all the killing
Algunas
for
zonas
you.
de mercenarios pueden proporcionarte auras, mejoras.
While in map
Otros pueden
areas,
encargarse de
if you
matar
don't
por
like
ti.
anything the mercenary offers, you have the ability to request their warrant. A
Te
warrant is
ofrece
a
la posibilidad de
promise to
solicitar
return and duel again at a
orden
later date.
judicial, una promesa
A
de
call to
regresar
action
y volver a
that calls
entrar
that
más
specific
adelante.
mercenary to a future map, with
Vale,
the same
lo
set
puedes
of
meter a otro
skills,
mapa.
but a new set of items. A mercenary will only
Vale.
grant their warrant once, however, preventing you from fighting that mercenary
Vale, el
in every
remate
single
es,
area.
te vuelvo, quiero que me aparezca, pero no en
Warrants
este mapa, en
also
el mapa
allow
que
you
yo
to trade
elija.
specific mercenaries to
Vale, y
other
esto lo podemos
players.
vender. Es decir,
It is important to
vamos
note
a poder
that unlike in
vender
mercenaries
los
of Path of Exile,
mercenarios que la
having a
gente
mercenary
quería para
does not
subir.
count as a player party member. So having a mercenary does not increase monster life or the quantity and rarity of items dropped from monsters. Given that, you may be wondering, but what if I really like a mercenary I found? They have a great personality and powerful skills. Is there really no way I can keep them as an
Está hablando de
ally
eso,
permanently?
que al final un mercenario
Well,
es
you can, but only
un
if you
personaje
are
que
a
nos va a
scion.
acompañar.
For the second time in 6 months,
Ooh.
the Scion is getting a new ascendancy class.
Solo la
The
Scion
Luminary.
puede tener el
The
mercenario
Luminary is a natural leader,
permanentemente.
lighting the
Con
way
una
for others to
ascendencia
follow.
nueva. Tercera
Becoming a Luminary
ascendencia
immediately
de
lets
Scion.
them
Acaban de
allocate the
presentar,
Noble
gente.
Blood passive, allowing them to
Luminary.
permanently hire any mercenary they find
Puedes
in
contratar a un
Rayclaws.
mercenario permanentemente.
Luminaries
si no
can
eres
have
de
up to
Scion,
3
solo te
permanently
acompaña
hired mercenaries,
unos cuantos áreas,
2
¿vale?
in
Unas
reserve in
cuantas
towns and
áreas.
hideouts, and 1 as an active ally in combat. Unlike with regular
Se pueden pillar
mercenaries,
los de level
you can
bajo en
change
esos
the
sitios
items
negocio.
permanently
En
hired
mapas,
mercenaries have
Yoko,
equipped,
han dicho que en
opening
mapas
up
puedes
innumerate potential
hacer las
build
rematch.
possibilities. By default, permanently hired mercenaries cannot be equipped with
Vale,
unique
esa
items,
ascendencia de
but
Scion
these
está
passives
centrada
enable
en
them to
mercenarios,
equip specific
¿vale?
types of
Que pueden
uniques.
llevar
While the
amuletos
legendary
únicos,
arms
cinturones
passive
únicos,
empowers
es
mercenaries that have
decir,
many different unique items
podemos
equipped.
potenciar también que nos salga
Luminaries have the
un
flexibility of
mercenario
becoming
con
a support
gestante, un
character to their
mercenario con
mercenary,
Mailblood.
or having their mercenary support them. The Oath of Fealty and
Tenéis que
Golden
buscar a la
Glory
Scion.
passives
A la
empower your
Scion
mercenary by
tenemos
using your link
ascendencia
skills
nueva
on them.
y reward a la
The
ascendencia de
Loyal
Reliquarian, que ya
Bodyguard
sabíamos
and
que cambiaba cada
bestowed
liga.
Knighthood passives enable your mercenary to protect you in combat, as well as
Pero está
enhancing
enseñando un
their
poquito
aura
las cosas de la
skills.
ascendencia, que cositas
As
que
with
puede
any old
hacer.
league that we add to the
Pero como
core
veis,
game,
una ascendencia
we have added
totalmente
full
pensada
Atlas
para
tree and
mercenarios.
Scarab support. Here are just a few examples.
Vale, está diciendo que ahora
These
que vuelve la
passives
liga de
allow you to
mercenarios,
much more easily
también
target the
vamos a tener
specific types of
puntos en el árbol
mercenaries
de
you
pasivas
want
del
showing up in your
Atlas
maps.
para mercenarios,
The
¿vale?
Loot
Para
and Pillage
potenciar los
passive
mercenarios de una
gives
manera o de
mercenaries a
otra.
chance to drop all their items when defeated,
Ves que
instead
tengan, por
of just the
ejemplo,
one you
el saco
selected.
siempre esté lleno.
The
de
Trothan
ítems.
Scarab of Renown
Tenemos
makes it so the spawned
escarabajos.
mercenary
Todos
is
los
covered head to
ítems de
tail in
equipos
unique items.
mercenarios son
And
únicos.
the Trothan
Eso
Scarab
para
of Infamy
buscar únicos,
forces a
para
more
robarle,
powerful,
está muy
infamous mercenary to
interesante.
spawn, accompanied by 2 other mercenaries for
Volvió
a
a ser el
truly
super
unfair
Rumbot.
duel. Unfair for them. There's even a few
Supongo que
entirely
también
new
habrán
mercenary
balanceado
types, one of which is found
muchos
exclusively on the
mercenarios
seafloor
que en su
in
momento
rare
estaban
Curse of the
rotos.
Allflame encounters.
Vale, hay un mercenario
Sellswords
que
of
solo se
Trathas won't be
encuentra
the
en
whole
las
of your problems in
profundidades de la
329,
mecánica de
however,
liga.
as the
También.
denizens of the Lightless are getting some much needed updates with the modernization and rework of Abyss.
Vale, viene
When we
también
brought Abyss over to
Revoravis.
Path of Exile 2 and Rise of the Abyssal,
Cuando trajimos
some
Abyss a
functional
Poe
changes to the
2 y
mechanic
todo
were made
esto,
to improve the gameplay significantly.
pues mejoró
In
mucho el
Curse of the
gameplay y a la gente le
Allflame,
gustó,
the
básicamente.
majority of those changes will be making their way back to Path of Exile 1.
Que esos
The
cambios van a
existing Abyss
implementarse en Poe
content had
1.
some notable problems. Aside from being very dated,
El contenido
it
de
also
Abyss
required
actual
the
tiene
player to follow a
problemas,
crack
¿no?
as
Está
it
muy
opens,
desactualizado.
often backtracking throughout already cleared
Requería que el
areas.
jugador siguiera una grieta
Now, as
y
you
la
approach an
pierdes. Yo
abyssal
la
pit
perdía muchas
and the
veces.
cracks leading up to it, you
Si el
will
mapa
find
estaba
that
muy
it is
petado, lo
already
pierdo.
open and spilling forth abyssal
Ahora al
energy
acercarse
into
un
the
pozo
surrounding
abisal,
area,
pues ya están las grietas,
subjugating
¿vale?
the
Ya
souls
está
of enemies
abierto,
unlucky enough to
está
be within
saliendo la
its influence.
energía. Si no habéis jugado a Poe 2, pues
Slaying
la
these
grieta ya está
enemies
abierta y
will
tú
send
matas
those
bichos
souls
alrededor.
spiraling down into the pit, drawing the attention and ire of
Matar a
the
esos
minions of
enemigos, así que
Kulamak
sus
that dwell
almas
beneath.
caigan en el abismo, atrayendo
Slay
la
enough of
atención
them, and the Abyssal
de
Legion will
bichos que
spill
vienen de
forth
las
from their domain to
profundidades. Es
tear
decir,
you
matas a
apart.
un grupo de bichos cerca de un pozo de Abyss y aparecen bichos raros de Abyss,
upshot of this
¿vale? Es un
rework is
poco el
twofold.
funcionamiento que tenemos en Poe 2, pero
Firstly,
lo explico
there
para
is
quien no
now
lo haya
much more
jugado.
visceral feedback in the moment-to-moment gameplay of Abyss,
Elección de Abyss,
with audio
utiliza su
and
dominio
visual
para
cues drawing the player
destrozarte.
along. And most importantly, you'll never need to chase a meandering abyssal crack around a map ever again. No
Nunca
more
tendrás que
backtracking.
perseguir una grieta ya por un mapa.
However,
Sí, por favor.
be on your guard. The abyssal minions of Kulamak have some different tricks up their sleeves in PoE 1, and many employ entirely different
Algunos
skills to
trucos
those of their
diferentes bajo
PoE
la
2
manga.
counterparts.
Vale, habilidades nuevas, vale, los bichos de Abyss tienen habilidades
To be
nuevas.
clear, there are still some aspects
Y
of the
algunas
existing
son
abyssal system
distintas a
that
las
we
de
will be
PoE 2.
keeping. Abyssal jewels and items
Aunque
with abyssal
observamos algunos
sockets
aspectos
will
del
remain.
sistema Abyss existente.
In fact, we have given
Como los
Abyss
bosses,
a
por
similar
ejemplo,
treatment
¿no?
to what we did with Dell fossils in our last release, moving
Los objetos
abyssal
con socket
rewards
de Abyss
out
se
of other areas of the
mantienen.
game to make Abyss the
Le darán a
exclusive
Abyss
source
el
of
trato
abyssal
de las
jewels and
recompensas de
Stygian
Delve, es
vices.
decir, la
This will
mecánica
also come
de
with a
las cosas
complete
de Abyss
refresh
solo
of
se pueden
abyssal
conseguir de
scarabs
Abyss.
and Atlas passive tree investment, with some truly
Nuevos,
dangerous and wild new ways to take on the
nuevos
Lightless
puntos,
Hordes.
nuevos escarabajos de Abyss.
Lastly, for Abyss, but definitely
Los
not
cambios
least,
en los escarabajos,
Abyss
más
is
bien.
bringing an entirely new endgame pinnacle boss
Nuevo
with its own set
pinacle
of
boss
brand new
de
unique items.
Abyss. Un nuevo boss de
This
Abyss.
boss has a
gente.
very unique way of accessing it. What does this eyeball do?
Tiene una forma
Good luck figuring this one out.
singular de entrar a él. Te da
Let's
un
move
ítem.
on to our next
Vale,
league
no
being
nos lo
reworked.
enseña, ¿vale? Pero hay una forma
Legion.
especial de entrar.
Every league should have
Revuelo
distinct
Legión.
and interesting
Tantas cosas,
rewards that are
gente. Muchas
exclusively
cositas.
available from that mechanic.
En los próximos días
This
lo iremos
allows
viendo
players
todo
to
con calma,
specialize in certain corners of the game, rewarding those who engage with a given mechanic. Legion is next on our list to receive this treatment. Despite having a unique
Vale,
combat
Legion es el
mechanic,
siguiente
we
en
felt
nuestra
Legion
lista que
didn't
recibirá
have
el
interesting
tratamiento,
exclusive
¿vale? Que las
rewards
cosas que solo
outside
son,
of
que son
timeless
exclusivas de
jewels.
Legión,
While
solo se
incubators were
consiguen en
technically
Legión.
exclusive to
Vale,
Legion,
porque ya
they
pasaba que
effectively
en
granted the
Expedition
same
podías
rewards that you
conseguir
could
cosas
get
de
elsewhere.
Legión, conseguir cosas
So,
de Delve, eso
what
lo
are we
están
doing about it?
cambiando.
Firstly,
cada cosa caiga en
incubators
su
are being
mecánica.
removed. No longer will you have to remember to apply incubators
Para que
to
más o
all
menos
your
todas las
equipment every
mecánicas se
few
jueguen,
maps.
¿no?
Instead, we will be adding a new type of reward exclusive to
tendrá-
Legion,
vale.
vestigial unique items.
No tendrás que ponerte incubadoras.
Legion generals and
Lo
maps will have a
cambian con un
chance
nuevo
to
tipo
drop
de
a new
recompensa
type of currency
exclusiva.
item, enshrouding crystals.
Cristales
These
que
can
le
be
dan
used on your
enshrouds.
unique armors. You can then take the enshrouded item to the domain of timeless conflict, which might look a
Puedes
little
llevar
bit
el
different to
objeto
what you remember.
envuelto al dominio del
A
conflicto,
giant
la
crystal
mecánica
emerges from the center of the domain,
de los
and there appears to be
timeless
some sort of
splinter.
entity trapped inside. Potentially the reason that these armies are engaged in eternal
El cristal
conflict.
ha cambiado, ahora hay alguien
At the
dentro del
base of the
cristal.
crystal are a number of smaller crystals.
Interactúa para
Clicking on one
insertar un
allows us to
ítem.
place our enshrouded item inside.
Vale, metes el ítem aquí.
As we then kill monsters in the domain of timeless conflict, our gloves within the crystal
Mientras
begin to
tanto, matamos
transform.
monstruos en el dominio del conflicto.
And once you have killed enough, the crystal
Vale,
becomes
tenemos que hacer
volatile
la
and looks ready
mecánica
to
de
fracture.
Legión con
I
los
wonder what will come out.
emblemas para
Our Shaper's
potenciar y
touch
conseguir
transformed into a
únicos
Malagaro's
a
virtuosity.
través de la
But now,
mecánica.
the Malagaro's virtuosity has a trace of the original
modificador.
enshrouded item bestowed upon it,
Incrementar de evasión,
in the
rating,
form
por
of a
inteligencia.
vestigial implicit modifier. As you can see, enshrouding crystals allow you to transfer powerful modifiers from one unique item onto another.
Dale, tiene un
Here are
cosas
some
del
more
original y
examples
cosas
of vestigial unique
modificadas.
items. Helmets, boots, gloves,
Modern Speed 150. Bleeding enemies
Shields.
explotan.
and body armors. In addition to
Curioso,
vestigial
curioso,
items, we are also making a
Va a
number
ser
of small
divertido ver un
improvements to
Legión
Legion.
diferente y
You no
tener
longer
que
need to
farmear
kill
los
every
emblemas, que
last
solemos
monster
dejar
to
bastante de
begin the
lado.
Legion encounter.
Solemos farmear Legión en
Breaking out
mapas,
all the key
pero los
monsters,
emblemas solo se
chests,
usan para subir
and the majority
experiencia.
of monsters
Esto parece una
will
manera
be enough to
interesante de
start the combat
potenciar que
automatically.
también se haga la mecánica
No more
de
cheeky single
emblemas.
monster hiding in the corner,
Y
preventing
es
your encounter
colocando
from
2 o
starting.
más emblemas en el map device, ¿vale? Podéis colocar hasta 5.
Legion monsters drop fewer splinters,
Y luego hay
but in
emblemas
larger
mejorados,
stack
que no sé si los
sizes,
mantienen.
resulting
Supongo
in
que sí,
fewer
¿no?
clicks in each encounter.
Sueltan menos astillas, pero en
Unrelenting
cantidades
timeless emblems have been
mayores,
removed,
¿vale?
with regular timeless emblems absorbing many of their
decir,
effects, causing
más
the domain of
splinter,
timeless
pero
conflict
de
to
un
become
tipo
harder,
determinado.
but more rewarding as you kill monsters. Your reward progress in the domain is now tracked by charging up these small purple crystals,
Más gratificante a medida
rather
que
than
matas
flooding your screen with
monstruos.
hundreds of
Las
reward
recompensas ahora se
icons.
monitorizan
The
cargando
rewards are
los
still the
pequeños
same,
cristales
just not
morados, en
obscuring
lugar de
your
inundar
screen
tu
with
pantalla con
symbols.
cientos de iconos de recompensa. Las recompensas
Talismans
siguen
were
siendo las
introduced
mismas,
back in
pero ahora no llenamos tu
2015,
pantalla de
but
símbolos.
over the years,
básicamente.
they've been long neglected and lack a meaningful place or
¿Habla de
purpose.
talismanes?
We are making a number of changes to bring
2015?
talismans back to relevance. Firstly,
Sí, talismán.
talismans are now exclusive rewards from bestiary.
Talismanes
Every
ahora son
red beast
exclusivos
has a
de
chance to drop a
bestiario.
talisman specific to
Cada
that
bestia
beast.
roja tiene la posibilidad de soltar un talismán específico de esa
For
bestia.
example, the Krashik Croaker can drop
Más
the
1
Croaker
todas las skill
talisman.
gems.
What makes these talismans special? Well, you'll notice a couple of changes compared to old talismans. Firstly, talismans no longer drop corrupted,
Ya no
making them
caen
far
corruptos
easier
los
to craft
talismanes.
once you find one.
Así que lo podemos
Secondly,
craftear.
the special modifiers on talismans are now
Hacía falta, los
enchantments
talismanes
rather than
estaban
implicits.
pochos,
This means they compete with blight anointments, allowing their effects to be significantly more
Nuevos
powerful than before.
implícitos
Here are a few more examples
van a
of new
competir con los
talismans.
anointments, ¿vale? Porque ocupan el
Talisman
mismo
unique items have
hueco.
all been improved, and now have a chance to drop from all bestiary bosses. Check out the new Eyes of the Great Wolf talisman,
Talismanes
which has some
únicos.
crazy possibilities.
Incrementa las magnitudes del
So
modificador
that is
encantado.
everything covering the new
Y nos
and
enseña un
reworked
talismán
league
para
mechanics
minions,
in
¿no? No me
329.
dio tiempo a leerlo, pero creo que era para
Now,
minions.
that's already quite a lot of in-game content, with mercenaries returning,
Oye, tenemos
an
bastante
upgraded abyss,
reward esta liga,
Legion's
¿eh?
new reward
Vuelve
mechanic, and of
mercenarios,
course,
reward a la
everything the Curse of the
legión,
Allflame
a
League
la
has to
parte de
offer.
talismanes,
But even with
a la
all of
parte
that,
de
we're not done.
Abyss.
Because what about the Atlas
Bastantes
itself?
cositas que testear.
Given Zana's actions to try and destroy it in the last 2 expansions. Zana's actions are causing the Atlas to become
Vale,
ever more
información
destabilized.
de qué pasa con la
Strange
expansión.
locations have
Las
begun to
acciones de Sana
manifest
están
on the
provocando que el
Atlas,
Atlas se
many of which
desestabilice.
seem to be bleeding
Y han
over from
empezado
familiar
a
places in Rayclass.
manifestarse cosas
Kerak
en el
has
Atlas.
labeled these as anomalies. When you complete
Anomalías.
maps affected by a void
Vale,
stone,
tenemos
there is a
expansión del
chance that
Atlas,
when you
¿vale?
next
Esto va a
open your
estar tanto en
Atlas,
estándar como
an
en liga.
anomaly may manifest.
Cuando completes mapas
Like this
afectados
one,
por una
the
piedra del
mana
vacío,
foyer.
hay una
Like
posibilidad de
regular
que la
maps on the
próxima vez que
Atlas,
abras el
you can
Atlas se
select them at
manifieste
your
una
map
anomalía.
device. But unlike regular maps,
Como este que
these
sale
don't
Cadiro,
require an item
¿vale?
to enter. It looks like this
no
area
requiere
is the
ningún objeto
abode of
para entrar.
Cadiro Perandus.
Y lo que encuentras
Cadiro
es
is willing
a
to offer
Cadiro,
valuable items
que
in
te ofrece algo
exchange for our
random.
gold.
Puedes cambiar
If
lo
you
que te
don't like what is
ofrece.
on offer, you can reject it, and he will immediately
Tienes
offer
7 intentos
another
para
item.
que te estafe.
The next offer will cost
Ahora
more
puedes
gold,
decepcionarte 7
but
veces
hopefully
en vez de
is
una.
much more valuable to you. If you don't have enough gold for the offered item, don't worry.
Al que le toque un
Cadiro is
Mayblu
happy
en
to wait for
Cadiro,
you
que
to
lo manda
replenish
por
your
Discord,
coffers.
¿vale?
You can
Que
return to
tenemos
the
un
area
canal
at any time.
de
The anomaly
RNG.
will not disappear
también
from
da
the Atlas
ítems de
until you
currency.
either purchase an item or
Puede darte un
reject all
mirror
his offers.
entonces. Está que te.
Anomalies are
Oye,
unique
está
in this
bien.
regard. Unlike other locations on the Atlas,
parece bien.
these areas
Vale,
can often
te lo
be
compro.
revisited.
Reguarda Cadiro, eso
Let's
no te lo
quickly
esperabas.
run through a few of the anomalies that can manifest.
En las anomalías vamos a ver
Reflecting
el
mists
lago de
and the
Calandra
nameless
otra
seer
vez.
no longer randomly spawn
El
within maps,
NPC.
but instead now appear in their own
Vale,
anomaly
el
areas.
Nameless ya no es aleatorio,
Scrying is
sino que
no
lo tienes
longer
que
the domain
encontrar
of
como
the nameless
anomalía,
seer,
¿no?
but instead can be done through the new, tradable scrying orb.
Vale,
Some
lo
anomalies
de
grant a taste of
pasar
league
las
mechanics
cartas de
you
un
might
mapa
not
a
normally
otro,
run,
ahora se consigue con
without
un
having to be
ítem.
fully invested
No hace
into
falta encontrar el
For
NPC,
example,
¿vale? Quality of Life.
This anomaly creates a random, fully revealed heist blueprint wing
Esta anomalía
with
crea
random
un
rogue
blueprint
companions.
aleatorio.
This anomaly has
Wow.
a version of the Sacred Grove where the plants have fully taken over. This
Otra
strongbox
anomalía es
seems
un
to have a
harvest.
strange mechanism.
Mapa azul, cajas
Atlas anomalies are
únicas.
unaffected by your Atlas skill tree, and you can't augment them using any
Está
fragments.
gracioso.
Therefore, they can be run at any time without feeling like they
El
have to be
Cadiro,
saved for
90.000 de
later
oro,
to
100.000,
maximize
sí.
the potential rewards. There are many more Atlas anomalies to discover for yourselves, each of them tied to a
Bueno, aquí hay
specific
muchas
Atlas
anomalías que
quadrant.
tendremos que descubrir
It
por
is
nosotros
therefore worth
mismos.
discovering which ones can spawn in each
Una de
part of
ellas
the
está
Atlas,
vinculada a un
as it may
cuadrante
influence
específico
what
del
Atlas
Atlas.
strategy you wish to pursue.
Vale, hay algunas que dependen de la
So
zona
that
del
is a
Atlas,
heap
el
of new
cuadrante en el
challenges
que
to
estés.
encounter,
Si
from the
tenéis
league
dudas,
and the
hay
in-game.
guía del Atlas
But
en
you
el
may be
rincón del
asking what new
exiliado.com,
tools do we
como
have to
siempre.
face these challenges. In 329, we are giving a bit of
¿Qué
love to
nuevas herramientas tenemos para
spellcasters,
enfrentar estos
specifically
retos? Por favor,
those that
las que
cast
puedo.
spells themselves.
A ver,
But first,
no.
let's
Vamos a ver
address the
esto.
elephant in the room that astute players may have noticed. Yes, I'm talking about those socket colors. So, after
Vale.
the better part of
Los
2
colores de los
decades,
ítems, reward.
in
A ver qué
329,
dicen.
we're making a fairly radical change.
Solo quedarán nailed para darnos
Sockets,
ítem y el
at a
Cadiro.
basic level, don't have colors anymore. You can now put any colored gem into any socket. We're doing this to
Puedes
address
colocar
a
cualquier
long-running
gema de
issue
color
for
en
both
cualquier
new
ranura.
and experienced players. I'm sure almost everyone who has played before has run into the issue of finding a notable upgrade and have struggled to
Los
find
que
a
han
way
jugado
to
antes se han
equip it.
topado con el problema de
Maybe
encontrar una
you
mejora
find
y
an
no le pueden
amazing body
encontrar
armor,
los colores,
one
no te la
that would
puedes
give you a
equipar,
substantial boost to your defenses.
que te cambia los
But you
colores y
just
no te da
can't
lo
move
que
your
quieres,
skill
y
or
te quedas
support
sin
gems
usar
over
algo que es
because the
mejor,
colors
¿no?
of the sockets just don't match, and you didn't luck out with your chromatic orbs.
Sí, nos ha pasado.
It's not fun when you have to
Pero es
unequip a bunch of
divertido.
skills or supports just to use a better
O
item.
tienes que desequipar un montón de habilidades solo para poder
This
usar un
can
objeto
still happen
mejor.
with the socket numbers and socket links,
Ahora
so
no
it's
hay
not like
colores,
it's just
ya no
purely
hay colores.
trivial, but the colors were just unnecessary. And not only prevented upgrading gear, it limited build experimentation. So,
Bueno, que ahora podemos
given that,
experimentar todo lo que
what do the
queramos.
colors on gems with regards to
Vale,
sockets
si han
even now
puesto
mean?
sockets blancos para todo,
Well, the
¿qué
colors
ha
on gems for
pasado
sockets are still
con
relevant,
Boris y todo
just
eso?
as an
Le
upgrade
tienen que
system.
dar nuevas recompensas.
You can still find items with colored sockets, and you can craft them onto items. They are just rarer and more powerful.
Todavía puedes encontrar
Most
algunos
importantly,
sockets con
they don't
colores.
restrict what can be
Y puedes
socketed into
fabricarlos en
them.
objetos. Simplemente son
So
más
how are they
raros
more
y
powerful?
poderosos.
Well, if you were to find an item with,
¿Cómo
say,
son más
a green
poderosos?
socket, you can put a green gem inside of it to
Si
get an
encontraras un
additional
objeto que
quality
dijera
bonus to
socket
that
verde,
gem.
puedes poner una
This
gema
allows
verde
socket colors
dentro
to be
para
a
obtener
purely
una
positive outcome
bonificación
on
de
an item,
calidad.
while not just simplifying the system
Vale,
away.
puedes ponerlo en cualquiera y hay colores
You can also still
grises,
change the color of
pero
sockets
si
on
lo
your items
colocas
using a
en el
chromatic orb,
color,
which now
un
guarantees at
rojo
least one
dentro de
red,
un rojo,
blue,
puedes
or
conseguir
green socket.
bonificaciones en la gema.
This change will make
¿Vale?
it easier for everyone to upgrade items and maintain their build,
Es decir,
especially while
en
progressing.
early lo facilita a los
Speaking of builds and
jugadores
gems,
y en
we wanted to
in-game
make sure we
nos
improve
está
some of those,
potenciando por
specifically
encontrar los
for
colores correctos.
spellcasters.
Nos está
Let's get into that.
recompensando.
Spellcasters have a large number of different skills to choose from, but often many skills play
Te da
and scale
quality.
in
Quality
similar
como tal
ways.
no, te da
We have done a
modificadores
pass through
extra,
existing
bonificaciones
spells,
en la quality.
differentiating spell damage types from each
Bonificaciones que
other.
también mejoran con la quality.
For example, Shadow's physical spells, like Ethereal Knives and Bladefall, now
Vale, han
have a
revisado
much
los
higher critical strike
spells,
chance
como
than
los
other
spells
spells
físicos de
at the expense
sombra.
of damage. Pure lightning spells now all
Está
have
hablando un
generally higher
poquito
cast
de
speeds, but they cost more
hechizos
mana
en
per second
general.
than other spells. We noticed that some of the
Más
ascendancy classes for
velocidades,
Shadow,
cuestan un
Witch,
poquito
and
más de
Templar
maná.
were lacking options for general spellcasting. So we've added a new notable to the
Shadow,
Assassin,
Witch, Templar, los han tocado un poquito para que puedan beneficiarse
The
más
Occultist.
del lanzamiento de spell por tu cuenta.
and the Inquisitor.
Ahora el cromático subirá de precio.
We are also introducing a new skill, Mana Infused
veremos
Staff,
cómo se
that
consigue
infuses
ahora,
your staff with
Kurian.
arcane energy, raising your
A
block
lo mejor
chance
los
and
cromáticos ahora no
reducing
te
the
caen
mana
hasta en
cost of
game
your
porque no te
spells.
hacen falta.
In addition, when you are hit by an enemy, you retaliate with a wave of arcane lightning, dealing damage based on your maximum mana. One of the
Bonito.
struggles we noticed with certain self-cast archetypes was that they lacked a scaling option in the endgame. In 329, we're adding a special new set of exceptional skill gems called Pacts. Each Pact is themed around a specific
Más
Beyond
nuevas
Demon
gemas
and
exceptional,
Lycia.
¿vale? Como las que
You
fueron
can make
metiendo
a
en la liga
bargain with these
pasada.
demons to
Exceptional
empower your
support
spells.
gems.
But at what cost, you may ask? Well, these spells don't have a typical cost, but instead cause the player to gain a special affliction debuff. Don't
Vale, ¿qué
worry too much
precio?
though, the rewards will be worth it.
Tú tienes 20% de reducción
For
en el
example,
speed.
Pact of Baydat causes many of your different spells to just cause a
Potencia los
ruckus.
siguientes 8 spells que castees. Hace más
While
daño con
Pact of Gore
golpes
is
y hay
for dot
menos más
builds.
tiempo.
Using this
Potencia los
pact will plague your
siguientes
enemies.
non-ailment
Just
damage,
cast it and
overtime,
watch
vale, daño
everything
del
around
tiempo
you
sin
melt.
ailments.
I wonder what Pact of Lycia and Pact of
Los
Katash do.
proyectiles se lanzan a todos los targets.
We won't go into the specifics of all the balance changes we
No
are
las
making
gemas,
here,
básicamente, las
but
veremos
there are
con
many
calma,
more
¿vale? Que así
caster
verlas en
improvements,
el
including
anuncio
buffs to
no da
specific
tiempo a
spells and
analizar nada.
supports, buffs to caster unique items,
Cuando
as
pongan la
well
nota de
as more
parche
and
y
better
pondrán
ways
las
to solve
gemas a
mana.
nivel 20 y tal
Check
en
out the
otro
patch
post
notes
aparte,
later
lo
for all
veremos
the
en detalle.
details.
Pero eso
Next
suele
up,
tardar
we're
más.
going to be talking about the new supporter packs for Curse of
Supporter
the
pack, ya
Allflame.
estamos en esa parte, ya ha
Today,
pasado tanto
we're
rato.
launching 2 new series of
Por
supporter
favor, que no
packs.
sean bonitos,
The
que tengan la
Plague
cartera
and
vacía.
Remedis packs.
Que sean
Each tier
feos.
contains the pack's full face value in points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions.
Vale, como siempre estoy
As
diciendo que los
always,
supporter
the
packs son solo
microtransactions
cosas
in these packs
cosméticas
are
que no
purely
influyen en tu
cosmetic and do not
jugabilidad.
affect your character's power or progression in any way. The Plague series of supporter packs
Plague
contains
supporter.
7 exclusive microtransactions. Equipping the Plague weapon skin replaces the default appearance of your
Vale,
staff,
bastante feíto, ¿eh?
sword, mace, or shield,
Una
with a
mascota
weapon that has been
rata, un
submerged
skin
in
de
corrosive
arma,
toxins.
en la versión baratita.
The Plague Rat
Recordad, los
Pet
soportes
is the
pack están
result of
teniendo
a
3 niveles
nefarious
últimamente,
experiment.
¿vale? 30, 60
When a
y
unique
90
enemy is
dólares.
nearby, it faints as a defensive
Cada
mechanism
uno de
to
ellos,
protect its fragile
del
body,
mismo
so it
set
can
de
continue to
supporters, si
spread
compras el más
disease.
caro, incluye todo lo
The
demás,
metal
todo lo
of the
anterior.
Plague Bearer
También
armor
puedes
set
comprarte el
has
primero y
corroded,
luego pagar la
and the cloth
diferencia
has
para
begun
comprarte
to
el segundo.
disintegrate from being exposed to such toxic elements.
Bueno, una
It includes the Plague Bearer
armadura
back attachment,
corroída,
which spreads
tela
disease across the ground and
desintegrándose,
town areas, maximizing the chance of
un bag
infection.
attachment,
A diseased swarm infects
plaga
your
en el
weapon
suelo,
when
así
using the
un
Plague
finisher
Bearer
F.
weapon effect. Use it alongside the erupting pustule's rare finisher effect to spread vile and devastating disease to monsters you kill. Activating the Plague Wraith map device causes the plagued energy to flow from the chained being. Given the goal of spreading such illness is to end the lives of as many as
Hostia.
possible, the map device tracks kills
Ese
in
map de
kind,
hoy mola,
showing you the
tío.
number of enemies killed in each map,
No,
sorted
que
by
soy
rarity.
pobre.
Feel free to even pin
Va
the count
contando
of
los
enemies
monstruos que
slain in a map
matas,
to the
ordenados
leaderboard
por
at your leisure.
rareza.
Pair
Pero lo
it
bonito
with
es
the
la figura
putrefying
como tal.
portal to
No me
fully
gusta la
immerse
quinta
yourself
apagada,
in
me
the
pasa lo
Plague
mismo, es
Propagator
decir,
experience.
no pagaría eso
Both the map
por
device
solo el
and the
map
portal
device,
emit such a
porque la
potent
armadura es
putrefaction
feilla, a mí
that even the
personalmente.
birds flying
No
overhead
me gusta
cannot
ese rollo
survive
tan
as
apagado
they
como el de
plummet to the
PoE
ground
2.
around it.
Me gustaba más cuando brillaban
The
todas, eran
Remedis
rollo
Pack series
celestial y cosas
also
así.
contains 7 exclusive microtransactions. The Remedis weapon skin changes the appearance of
Vale,
your
el segundo
staff,
supporter pack,
wand, scepter, or shield,
Remedus
with relics
supporter,
once used by the Order of the Remedis Knights against the plague.
bastante soso.
The Medi Roa pet is kitted out
Un
with
Roa,
all the supplies
un Roa
necessary
armado.
for healing in remote locations. Strangely, these Roas seem to have a particular fondness for goblin meat. The Remedis Knight armor
goblins,
set
vale.
is bestowed upon those tasked with traveling through
Otra armadura
Rayclass
bastante
to purge
oscura.
the sick of their
Las están haciendo
diseases.
todos los
The
supporter
matching back
packs
attachment
orientados
cleanses
a
the
que se
disease
usen en
left
PoE
behind
2
on
y
the
en
ground
PoE
in
1
town areas by
y
the
los hacen
Plague
más
Bearer back
apagados porque en
attachment.
PoE 2
It's an
han
important job of a
elegido ese
Remedis
efecto,
Knight to
esa,
not let disease take over.
estilo
Help by
visual.
doing your part.
Pero me
The
gustaba cuando en
Remedis
PoE
Knight
1
weapon
tenía la rollo
effect funnels the
celestial, tenías
divine
la
power
dorada,
of
tenías
purification
la
into
del
your
Hesmin,
weapon.
la de Sirius,
Return to the
esas me molaban
Saints' End
mucho.
Monastery hideout to
Un
recuperate from
hideout,
your purifying
un
duties.
monasterio.
Once a thriving center for curing ailments, this monastery has slowly wasted away while lying unused. If you're feeling brave enough, there's even a platform to dive into the purifying waters below before washing back up at the base of the hideout.
Qué bueno.
Last, but not least, use the Reservoir
Y
of
un
Benediction
stash.
Affinity Stash to store
Affinity
all of your
stash, ¿que te
elixirs.
abre?
This stash opens to your stash tab with the Flask Affinity set. Additionally,
Vale, abre lo
all
que tú elijas,
microtransactions from the supporter packs
Ah,
are
con
available for
frascos.
use in
No
Path
sé.
of Exile 2. We're looking forward to seeing
Bien,
which of
por
you
suerte
choose
no
to
me ha
become
gustado
the
mucho.
plague and spread disease across Rayclast, or those who wish to fight against it by becoming a Remedis Knight.
Ojalá
Thank
para
you
todo
so
vivirte,
much for your
sí.
ongoing support. We're just about to start
Vale, y ahora
the
empieza
Q&A
el
with
QA.
Ziggy
Oye, ha
D.
sido bastante corto, ¿eh? No
Afterwards,
vayáis
we'll
que
post
todavía
the
el
full
drop no
patch
lo vais
notes
a
for
tener.
Path of
No han
Exile,
pasado
Curse
45
of the
minutos
Allflame
aún.
at 11 a.m. New Zealand time, 4 p.m. Pacific.
Vale, publicarán
With
pronto las
release
notas
at
de
the end of next
parche.
week, our community team will be posting crucial information
de
you'll
un
need
montón
for
de
the
rato.
release. Keep an eye on the news.
Que durante la semana se publique información crucial, como siempre. Primero publican las notas de parche, luego un post de las gemas, luego un post de no sé qué, lo van haciendo por partes. Yo el QA nunca lo veo, ¿vale? ¿Por qué? Porque el QA pues son ya preguntas determinadas en las que hablan muy rápido y tienen un inglés de Nueva Zelanda que no se le entiende ni papa muchas veces y me cuesta pillar el ritmo, ¿vale? Luego sigue, lo sube en el canal y suelen poner un resumen. Yo me suelo ver el resumen y ya está, porque al final lo importante, esto viene a aclarar preguntas y cositas, pero al final lo importante va a estar en las notas de parche y lo vamos a saber a lo largo de la semana, ¿vale? Entonces el QA no es tan importante para mí, aunque aclara pequeñas dudas, pequeñas cositas, pues no es tan relevante. Y los que me estéis viendo de YouTube, pues muchas gracias y dejadme por aquí, si me estáis viendo en el vídeo resubido, los comentarios por aquí abajo, ¿qué os parece esta nueva liga?